Call to order, and the prayer and pledge will be led by J.P. Andrea Jenkins.
Please stand if you'd like to pray tonight with us. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you so much for giving us the opportunity to be elected officials in this wonderful county that we live in. I know that in addition to my own feelings, we all feel blessed to live in such a special area. I'd like to send special blessings to those of us serving our community, including our law enforcement, firefighters, EMS, first responders, educators, and anyone out there making a difference in the lives of others. I'd also like to give a special blessing to all the nonprofits in our area and all the people struggling. In Jesus' name I pray, amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We need to add, I guess, 2 items to the agenda tonight. We need to add the item that we voted on last night on the RFQ to the agenda for funding. Do I hear a motion to add this to the agenda? Yes.
Thank you for recognizing me. I don't remember what the RFQ was. If you'd explain that, please.
Okay, it was a recommendation for a quote or for qualifications for a firm to come in and evaluate the criminal justice system of Washington County.
Yes, okay. Well, Madam Chairman, I noticed that items 9 through 14 are all resolutions that are not asking for funding, that are not really germane to this committee, and I'd move that those be struck from the agenda. There's no requirement that I know of for resolutions to go to a committee. Am I right, Mr. Lester?
I don't think so.
Yeah, I believe that's correct. I don't think a resolution has to go to a committee. The reason they were included in this is because there's a grant request. There's a grant that the county is seeking to get some funding for a fire truck in the Evansville community. They require all of these ordinances, and so I think it got, in doing them, yeah, I spent some time on this, and these ordinances took some, anyways, they're really, it's interesting because the resolutions are not ordinances. The resolutions are really just to reaffirm that we follow federal law. We already have ordinances that state this, but I was told by the Northwest Arkansas Planning Group that's doing the grant that we have to, the feds, the HUD, it's Housing and Urban Development, who's doing the grant, we have to pass all these resolutions with it. So I think it got put on tonight's agenda.
All of these resolutions are because of one grant?
That's correct. But I was told that the good news is if we apply for another HUD grant within the next 2 years, because we already have these, we won't have to do all these resolutions again.
But we'll have to do it again at the quorum court meeting, so it's
right. I don't know that
pointless
it's.
to do
I don't
it
know
tonight.
that it's. I don't think that there's any requirement because they're not finance and budget that you hear them tonight.
Well, they're
I
on
heard
the
that we-
agenda, and I think we need to just go on and act on them and send them to the quorum court, and that way we have all of our bases covered.
Well, I would move that they be struck and the rest of the agenda adopted with the addition that you mentioned.
Madam Chair?
Yes. Just a
Oh,
minute.
there's
We
a
have
motion.
We have a motion on the floor. Do we have a second?
Second.
All right, we have a second. To strike all of the resolutions and to add the RFP, or whatever it is.
Your motion from last
Q,
night.
RFQ, request for qualifications. Okay.
And if I could just speak to it momentarily, it seems to me that we're going to have to hear them again at quorum court, and our meetings are long enough that we don't have to debate things twice, especially something that's required for a grant.
Okay. Is there any other discussion? All right, then we will vote yes.
Just making sure, if we strike them, will it pass to the quorum court for a vote?
Yes.
Okay.
Resolutions.
It will. I mean, I'm assuming it will, since we have to vote on them at some point for the HUD grants. So. No, it's not. It's a grant. So, I mean, I'm sure there was a reason to put them on here, and that's why I'm reluctant to take them off. Yes.
Just looking for the advice from Mr. Lester.
Well, okay.
I'm trying to remember when we passed the ordinance at the beginning of the year that required all ordinances, and I don't know if it said all ordinances and resolutions. Just says, okay, so then that was my only concern. So since that one just says ordinances, then yes, I don't think there's any requirement that a resolution go to a committee. So if you strike them from tonight, they will be on the corp court agenda for next week.
Actually, I think we have two motions in that one motion, because we have to approve the RFQ, correct, to add it to the agenda as number 15. All right. All those in favor of the motion, say aye. Aye. Okay, Lance, Mr. J.P. Johnson.
What are we striking? What item numbers?
9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and 14.
Nope, 9 through 13.
9 through 13. Okay.
9, 10,
Well, that one's a resolution too.
Yeah. Resolution.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, 14, I'm sorry. You're
So it is 14. It is 9 through 14. And adding the RFQ to the agenda. All right. Does everybody yes.
Just for clarification, does this also need to be added to the agenda?
Yes, as soon as we vote on this. Okay. Everyone in favor of the motion say aye. Aye. All those opposed?
No.
Motion carried. All right. Are there any other items to add to the agenda? Lisa?
Yes, Madam Chair, I would like the ordinance that we have before us, giving the quorum court JP's permission and the right to purchase insurance added to the agenda.
Okay.
Second.
All right, I have a second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed, motion carried. Okay. Now, do I have a motion to approve the agenda as amended?
Move to adopt the agenda as amended. Second.
All right, all those in favor, say aye. All those opposed, motion carried. All right, I guess we're ready for the treasurer's report. Mr. Hill.
Oh, hello, everybody. Get started. 4.1, Treasurer's Financial Summary. Top line, general. One of the few months where you'll see revenues over expenditures, and that was due to the property taxes we received from the April settlement. And with the $500,000 that the court passed in November, the property taxes are up 15.5% from the same time last year. 2000 road fund. Road continues to bleed money, mainly due to the FEMA issues we've discussed in the past. And with all the flooding down in the River Valley, that shouldn't slow down. I wouldn't think that would interfere with the funding we will eventually get, but who knows on that. 3017 jail, they spent about what they brought in. They ended the month with $666,000 in the bank. The bottom of the next page, we began the month with $23 million, ended the month with $34 million. Again, that's mostly due to April's property tax settlements that we received this month, or in May. 4.2, for the first time in 2 years, we've seen a decline from the previous year. Less than 1%, but it was still a decrease. The month before was weak as well. It was an increase, but just 0.33. Only time will tell if this is just a hiccup along the road or if maybe a little slowdown is coming. But like I said, only time will tell on that. 4.3, same thing with the jail, down the same percentage. They did bring in $902,000. And so far this year, they brought in $104,000 over the first 5 months of 2018. 4.4. The road state sales tax, this fared a little better than our local taxes. Came in at 2.2% increase, $140,000. And for the year, $698,000 has gone to the road department. And that is all I have.
Yes. J.P. Dunn.
Has Benton County had an impact on their sales tax? I'm curious if their sales tax revenue is up.
I haven't checked with Benton County this month. I'm not sure.
I'm just wondering if people are driving to Rogers to shop instead of shopping in Fayetteville. Spot.
I'm not sure about that.
Any other questions for Mr. Hill? Well, I hope, yes. J.P. Madison.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Were there drops last year at this same time for those same months?
Let's see.
You can look on there and see.
Let me look here. I know last month, April, is always kind of a slow month, but I do think there was a little dip this time of year, but not to this degree.
Okay.
But I would have to look back at last year. But April, 2 years ago, April was our last negative month, so it's not
Last year,
uncommon.
April was the only negative month,
2 years ago, April
2 years ago.
was our last negative month until this month. So, and it came back strong after that. So, who knows what's going to
Is there
happen?
any way to know whether it's actually that sales are down or that perhaps people are not remitting?
Oh, the internet.
Well, or people,
There's no way of
store-
knowing if
no way of knowing
people
that.
aren't remitting that I know of, but it's just a matter of people spend a little less in Washington County this month than they did
Okay.
last year. So,
Have we?
I guess we should watch it. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Started collecting anything off internet sales tax?
just what Amazon was doing when they started last year. That new, I think it'll start in July, and we
Okay.
won't see anything till like September.
Okay, is that going to
This
be
new law
directly collected by the state and then sent to the counties? Okay.
Should be the same. Flow through us the same way, but hopefully we'll see a jump.
I thought maybe we had fewer University of Arkansas activities that month.
But I'd say this month we've got the super regional and the regional.
Right.
But we had the same thing last year, so it might not show a big
Okay.
jump, so.
Okay, J.P. Dunn.
Just a quick comment. You're looking at month-over-month data, so you're going to see the same seasonality. So Christmas is going to spike, and then throughout the year you'll see the jump. But so it shouldn't do any changes unless there is an event that we're incremental to last year. So super regional we had this year. We also had last year, so no change. So that is interesting. I mean, I would assume that we're some leakage to Benton County, but we could look at Benton County's data and understand that quickly. That's all.
I'll try to get that for
JP.
you next time.
J.P. Ecke.
Thank you. Refresh my memory, and perhaps Chief Gales could answer this question. I think 2 years ago, when April did dip, was that not when we had the floods? Just the rains that came down, early springs? I know that in our
believe it-
business, go ahead.
I believe it was that, because I had the father-daughter dance that day when it was flooding, so I'm trying to figure out. I think it was in April.
It's interesting, the memories.
Yes.
Yeah. But I know that for me professionally, we mark whether it's weather or there was equipment that broke down that caused whatever fluctuation. I don't know how your office,
No, like-
if somebody could just put a note that says floods, good
Oh.
weather, bad weather, because
I know when you-
that will explain a lot why we haven't been able to go out and shop, because we've had so much rain.
When we have snow days, or used to have snow days, don't seem to have those anymore, but
No, it hasn't snowed in
especially when
a
it's completely
few
shut
years.
down, that's about what comes into Washington County for the 1 cent tax, just for us, is about 20,000 a day. And you can see when you have several snow days, it dips, just because people can't get on the roads and spend money.
But it seems like to me, we had so many weekends where it just poured. On Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So if we could just kind of keep that data, I think it would help us know that it's not due to economics other than it's weather.
I don't think, I mean, if it's just a one month or 2 month dip, it's probably not economically, if
Yeah.
it bounces back and continues up.
Right.
But if it slows down, keeps going, then it probably is more of an economic impact than seasonal or stuff like that.
And if it's retail, they're still going to go out and buy their shoes, but restaurants, you're not going to eat twice because you
Right.
didn't happen to eat out that day, so. All right, thank you, just an observation.
Are there any other questions for Mr. Hill? Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, Employers Insurance Report, Nelson Driver.
Good evening, everybody. The insurance fund report, we began the month of May with $3,031,000. We ended the month of May with $2.9 million. And as of today, the balance in the health fund today was $2.898 million. So right now, we've dropped about $101,000. We haven't made any transfers into the fund, and is that right, Bobby? Not for this month? Not for this month. We won't do that until the end of the month. But right now, we're still in really good shape as far as the fund is concerned. I did want to highlight a couple of things of interest, and that's our large claims. We keep track of any claims, especially claims that come in that are over $15,000. And one of the things that I wanted to bring out to you is medical claims in this particular category, over $15,000. Medical paid out so far from January through the end of April were $493,189. Prescription drug cost that is factored into that as well was an additional $110,350. So out of this particular category, total claims paid is a little over $603,000. So you can see that's where quite a lot of the money has come in. 3 of these large claims have been on dependent claims. 7 of them have been from employees, and 7 have been from spouses. Claims on the insurance fund. During the month of next month, the month of July, at the Finance and Budget Committee meeting, I'll be giving you a 6-month report on where we stand through the end of the month of June. So we'll look at the claims figures and where they've come from, what types of claims have we had, and basically what the stance is on the fund at that time. So that's the fund report. And if, Madam Chair, if I can speak to the issue about the quorum court members being able to
Yes.
get on the county's insurance.
Yes.
We have done that in the past for numerous years.
Oh, okay.
The quorum court's always been eligible to do that, and I openly invite you to do that if you're interested, and if you have any questions about that.
Okay. We may, yes, JPS.
Yes, we have, and I believe that the rate, if Watson will correct me if
I'm sorry?
I'm incorrect, but it's at the retiree
Yes, ma'am.
rate as far as health insurance.
Yes, ma'am.
But this is dental, vision,
Mm-hmm.
and life insurance, which are paid 100% by the employees.
Right, that's
So the
correct.
county is not picking up any portion.
The county
of
doesn't
it,
pay anything
any
into
of
it, no.
And legislatively, we were prohibited from those categories. But
That's
health
correct.
insurance, we were. It was just very expensive.
Yes.
Thank you, just to clarify.
Okay, thank you. Do you see anything down the road that might be a problem?
Not so far.
Okay, that
You know,
sounds
come-
good.
Come October, November, December, all bets are off. I mean, December's always a rough month because, people are getting close to meeting their deductibles, and they, with the mad dash toward the door to get everything done before the end of the year and deductibles start over, so.
Okay.
But thus far, I mean, right now, I don't see anything coming down the pike that looks bad. Of course, if I ever get to a point where I can predict health claims, I'm going to have myself bronzed, I think. But right now, I don't see any indications that we're going to hit a rough spot. So they're in pretty good shape.
Well, for the new people on the court, in the past, we've had to do infusions of about 500,000 for, 3 or 4 years there. So I'm glad to see that this is stable now. So,
Hope it stays that way.
we did increase premiums to the employees to get it to this point. So thank you.
You're welcome.
Are there any other questions? Thank you, Mr. Driver. All right, we're ready for our controller's report. Mr. Worthen? Six point one.
Yes, 6.1 is the unappropriated reserve balance report, and it shows the ordinances that affected our unappropriated reserves for the month. And then down in the lower right-hand corner shows our net general balance, $3,484,207, after allowing for the negative for the jail. Then 6.2 is the summary of operations expenses by fund and department. And the right-hand column is the actual expenses without considering the encumbrances. And for 5 months in, we should be at about 41.7%. And all the funds are in pretty good shape, except for those we've discussed in previous months that were over a little bit. And then over on page 11, general fund overall is at 40.9%. And then the rest of these are the special project funds that don't really follow the regular trend. And then over on page 16, the total for the whole county, we're at 41.5%, and so that's pretty close to 41.7 where we should be. And that's all I had to report for today.
I have a question back on 6.1 on the general fund. You've got sheriff's special event. Is that money in or money out?
That's money that goes to reimburse the sheriff department. They've spent money on salaries for these special events. Then when they get the money back in, then that has to go to appropriate additional budget money to cover that.
Okay, so when the university sends a check, it's put in general fund, and then it's given back to the sheriff's department in the salaries for those people that worked. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Are there any other questions? J.P. Jenkins?
Maybe. Thank you, Madam Chair. Can you explain that a little bit more? You said it goes through the university.
Okay,
Yes,
the university pays the sheriff's department for like baseball games, all those people are out there directing traffic and everything. they get paid so much for that, and that goes into the county fund. And then those people get paid for doing those events, so it's given back to the sheriff's department, and they write checks to those individuals that work those events.
Okay, so that's what special events means, anything that, in
Yes.
conjunction with the
Yes.
university?
It could be university, or it could be, I don't know, we do a lot of different events for Fayetteville. I don't know if, we do the bicycle race, hog eye run, there's money that's given to those people for working those special events.
Thank you for clarifying. That was a question I had.
Thank you. Are there any other questions? Okay, thank you, Mr. Worthen. All right, we're ready for 7.1.
Madam Chair?
Yes.
Under new business, if I could real quick, just share with the rest of the JPs the payroll employee, Teresa Marks, and what we're doing, because it's not on the agenda anywhere, but it's only
The what now?
Teresa Marks
Oh, yeah.
fundraiser,
Oh,
if I
yes.
may.
Yes.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Go on and do
Okay.
that.
Teresa Marks is one of our employees in the payroll department, and she has had to have a double mastectomy. And the judge's office, along with the sheriff's office, are doing a fundraiser for her, I do believe on June 25th. And I was contacted by the judge if I could get a special pricing on certain items, because I'm in food service, and working with the Cargill Company store, which there's fabulous bargains there. And I said I would. I have a product that you can't get at Sam's or anywhere else. We got it through one of our grocery companies. It's a Black Angus premium pre-cooked hamburger patty. And I like that because we don't have raw product to handle in trying to prepare food for a lot of people. There are some JPs, along with Chief Gales, that have donated an entire case. We were going to need 5 cases to get 200 patties. And I was thinking if we could get 3 JPs to buy a case, that's $26 a piece. Therefore, we as JPs could donate all the hamburger patties to the fundraiser. So if you are interested in being a third of a case, and I do believe I need 3 cases. No, I need 2 cases, which means I need 6 more JPs if you're willing to
Okay,
be a part of that. Let me know afterwards, but this
Okay.
is rather than talking to each individual.
Right, okay.
And if you have the funds available now, that'd be great. If not, you can give me a check or cash, and I'll show you the invoice that we have that. And we're also able to buy 120 all beef franks for $20, which is an outstanding price for that. So we're going to get that and some cheese and whatnot. So thank you. If you'd like to participate, we'd appreciate it.
Thank you very much for sort of coordinating this, the quorum court part of this, and I'm sure everyone wants to contribute. All right, thank you, Lisa, or JP Ecke. All right, we're ready for new business. We're on item number 7, an ordinance changing the title of, okay, do you want to read this title of this ordinance?
Yes, ma'am. An ordinance changing the title of 3 full-time positions in the road department budget for 2019.
Okay, the road department's doing some reorganization. They are very, very busy. They've got lots of projects and lots of things going on, and they need supervisors to cover these, and they are combining some positions to do it, and so do I hear a motion? Okay, I need a motion first, and then we'll discuss it. All right, I have a motion, Butch, and a second, J.P. Madison. Yes, Ms.,
I was just going to make the motion, but
Oh, okay.
no comment. I'm happy with it.
all right. Okay, discussion on this. Anyone have any comments? Mr. Gales, you want to make any comments?
Just pass it.
I make a motion, we send it to full quorum court.
Okay, just a minute, we need public comment. We have a motion already on the floor. No public comment? All right, we'll vote. Do we need, okay, Ms. Patty, you want to, can we do this by voice? Okay, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. So 7.1 has carried. All right, we're ready for 8. An ordinance appropriating $10,000 from, go on and read it. I'll let you read it.
An ordinance appropriating $10,000 from unappropriated reserves in the general fund to various line items in the quorum court budget for 2019.
All right, J.P. Lance Johnson, you going to speak to this?
Yes, I move that we send this on to the quorum court with a due pass recommendation.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Yes.
Yeah, this, I know, I think all of the newly elected JPs in the state of Arkansas and 4 other states were invited to a function in Washington, D.C. that I think is 2 weeks from today. And several of us have expressed an interest. I know some people went last year, and because the judge's travel budget has been reduced to 0, I think, he requested that this be added so that those folks that wanted to go could be reimbursed.
Okay,
If you didn't get an email, if you're one of the new JPs, this was sent from the AAC, not from the judge's office. So if, I know JP Yanez, Jenkins, did anybody else not get that email from the AAC about the deal in Washington, D.C.? Women, okay, I'll get somebody to send it to me. I don't have it. I'll send it out to you.
Are we going to have time?
Yes.
2 weeks out?
Yeah, you can still get, I mean,
Yes.
it's a day visit to the White House. And so, very much so, it'll be like a flight out, probably a 1 overnight, and come back. So, yeah, you have plenty, I think you got time.
Okay, thank you.
so not a meeting with it?
Yeah, there's a meeting.
All right, J.P.
I thought you gave me the
Madison?
floor.
Thank you, Madam Chairman.
Madam Chairman, you
Just a
gave me the
minute.
floor.
What?
I had you gave me the floor.
Okay, I thought you were finished.
I didn't get to say anything because Mr. Lester said something.
Okay,
I'm sorry.
Next.
all right, go on.
That's okay. My mic was on. In supporting what J.P. Johnson was saying, this is only for newly elected JPs. I had the opportunity to go last year. This is an invitation from the White House, from the President, and reaching out to state government, from state government to county government, because this is a grassroots level, and having this communication with the Secretary of Agriculture, the Secretary of Education, and then you'll have others there. It is a tremendous, I think, sometimes once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to go, and I want to encourage you, and I support this ordinance. It is going to be beneficial to all.
Okay, J.P. Madison?
Thank you. I apologize for leaving my mic on. $10,000 is a lot of money, and we have a lot of critical needs in this county. I mean, last night, we sort of punted on the jail issue. It's going to come back in one way or another. We're going to have to deal with that. And $10,000 might seem small, but things add up. And if somebody wants the thrill of a lifetime to go to the White House and meet the Secretary of Agriculture, I suggest they pay for it. I've been to a lot of conferences and meetings nationally, and it's really hard to say sometimes what the benefits are. Sometimes it's connections you make. Sometimes you might get something out of a talk. Often you get lost in the shuffle there. And Why it's limited to new JPs, when some of us have been JPs and never been, is kind of beyond me. If it's that beneficial, it should be good for all of us. And I intend to vote no on this. Thank you.
Ms. J.P. Cunningham, do you have your hand up? Okay. J.P. Ecke?
I think last year, everybody was invited to go, and I do believe Justice Madison was on that. And last year, Justice Eva Madison was the AAC representative, who then forwarded on to us, saying that the AAC has invited us to go to these things. And in my opinion, if you've already had that opportunity and that experience, then we should support those that have never had that opportunity and that experience. And I'm glad that it's open to the new ones. We had our opportunity, and I think it's good for the new ones. And $10,000 is beneficial because of the value and the experience and the education and understanding what is actually going on and how you can be a better elected official. Thank you.
J.P. Pond?
Yes, ma'am, thank you. I will be in support of this. You know, I never went, not, you know, but I'm telling you, I want as many as can go to that and be representatives of Washington County. It's an event where it'll be a big event and you might get lost in the shuffle, but I want it down someplace that Washington County was there, Washington County was represented. In some way, I pray that will be beneficial to us. Thank you.
Any other comments? Public, any comments from the public? State your name, please.
Hi, Sarah Moore, Fayetteville, Arkansas. I'd just like a little more detail. Obviously, I'm not familiar with it as some of the JPs were, but I see the expense, I think it's $10,000 total, and I'm just curious how many people that actually covers.
I have no idea. I'm
Because $10,000 for one person sounds extravagant, but for...
that this would be money also to cover anyone that wanted to go to the state meetings, or any other conferences, not just this conference.
So this would cover the entire fiscal calendar?
Yes, it would.
Is the thinking?
Yes.
Okay, but it is, at this point, it would be monies that are over and above what we discussed for this fiscal year's budget is what?
Yes.
We'd have to find those
it
monies.
Will be.
Okay. I would echo the sentiment, just keeping in mind the fact that we've headed down this road about what's going to happen with the jail and wondering what funds we're going to be trying to get together. You know, we're going to talk later about $150,000 assessment need potentially. So just keeping in mind that $10,000, again, does sound small on the onset, but I have to say as a stay-at-home mom, $10,000 is a lot in my budget. So it actually sounds like a lot of money to me, honestly. So I hope we'll consider that we do have a lot of things coming in the remainder of the year. But obviously you guys know the value as well to the travel and the things that you maybe need to do. So obviously you have to weigh both those things. Thank you.
All right. J.P. Jenkins?
I echo the concern for the $10,000, I do, but as an educator, I understand the importance of professional development, and man, I feel like, I see you guys doing it, I feel like I've been kind of lost these first few months and working my way through understanding things, and any kind of professional development I can get, I feel like will be taken seriously, and I will make sure to use that experience to gain everything I can to bring back to Washington County. So I thank you for that experience. And I'd like to see who all is planning on going. Raise your hand.
Can I ask a question? Will you respond to your question?
What is that? Yeah.
J.P.
I just have a question in response to her question. I don't know when this is, so I don't know how we can say whether we can attend.
J.P. Cunningham?
I guess she didn't get a letter either.
It's June 25th.
You didn't get it.
Madam Chair.
All right, JP, done?
I just forwarded it over to Brian Lester to send out to the rest of the quorum court. And if you're not on the listserv for Arkansas Association of Counties, there's the email that came from the AAC, so I would email them and ask to be added to the listserv. I think you can go online actually to their website and be added. And so they send out a newsletter every Friday. They send out a catalog in the mail, I think once a month. So a lot of resources for us. Some of it's helpful, some of it's not. But anyways, I think it would definitely be something worth signing up for. And then, yeah, I didn't receive this that long ago, and I do plan to attend too. Yes.
Okay, public comment, oh, we already had public comment, all right. JP Bowman?
Thank you, Madam Chair. You know, Ms. Ecke talked about her trip up there, and she said she had meaningful conversations with senators and representatives up there. And I think it's pretty significant when you have a chance to make input with those kind of people. So personally, I think it'd be a very worthwhile trip because those people notice and pay attention to who comes. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Any other comments? JP Pond?
One other comment. You know, for myself personally, I don't think $10,000 is a small amount of money. I really don't. But take and compare that to the number of federal grant dollars that we receive annually, and it is minimal. And I truly believe we need some of our people there, like I said, as many as can go that are invited, and be our representative and our spokesperson. And like you're talking about our senators, congressmen, they'll know that Washington County was there. And if you walk up to any of them and introduce yourself and that you're from Washington County, they'll have somebody there, if they can't personally do it, take you on some tours and things of their offices and that sort of thing. And I'm saying, please go. Thank you.
Okay. This is an appropriation ordinance, but it does go to the quorum court for final approval, so it only requires a simple majority to pass here. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed, no. Motion pass. All right. We're ready for number 9. We 9 through 14. So we're ready for number 15, an RFQ, request for qualifications. This was voted on last night. It's a study of the criminal justice system in Washington County. We need to appropriate money. The county judge will be responsible for sending out the RFQs and interviewing people to do this job for us. Do I have a motion? Okay. $150,000 has been put out. My suggestion is that we take this out of courts, fees, and fines. I believe, since this has to do with the criminal justice system and the sheriff's department, that this money can be used for this study. Mr. Lester, I intended to call you before today, but Hayfield came before this today, sorry.
That's all right. I'll have to check on that because I'm not sure about that. I know the court costs and fines can be used for court purposes. So I'm not sure if there's any wiggle room, if this would fall under that. But I'll look into it. I just don't know off the top of my head.
Mr. Johnson, J.P. Johnson.
Had a conversation with the judge this afternoon. Last night, several folks mentioned grant money that may be available. I know that they haven't had the time to research that, but they're going to research that. I think it's premature for this court to be appropriating money at this point for this issue. I think there's some homework that's got to be done, and
I agree that
We
grants
ought to wait
can be
on-
applied for, but I think we're also kind of under the gun, so to speak, to get this done because we've got a jail situation. We need to look at either doing some kind of community release of our pretrial people, hoping that we can do some things in the community to help these people to reduce the jail population. And if we, this is kind of a crucial, and what I would ask is, yes, that we do apply for the grants, but that we have a backup in case we cannot. How long do you think we need to wait? Because grants take up, you just can't call up and hand in a grant and, if you're approved, get the money. It takes up to 6 months on these grants. And most organizations that give out grants only do this a certain time of the year. They just don't, they don't take application all the time. There's a window in which to apply for these grants. So there, I agree that we need to apply for grants and out to do this. But I also know that it's a long shot to get enough money to cover this with grants. Yes. J.P. Lemming.
Well, you talk about taking it from we're already having to put money with the jail, so if you're going to take money away from them, you just will take it out of the general fund.
We're not taking money away from the jail.
So if fines and tickets don't take away from
No, it does not. That does not go into the jail fund.
Okay.
Yes.
Have we contacted the Arkansas Judicial Courts? Arkansas Courts Organization? Like it's what the Association of Counties would be for.
Administrative Office of the Courts.
Right.
I understand that they are doing a study. They're not doing a study?
The Administrative Office of the Courts doesn't do this type of study. We contacted them.
Okay, so they were contacted, just wanted. Do the courts have professional services in which some of the monies could be appropriated from that line item in various judges?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I'm not aware if they do. We could look at the state. We could call the Arkansas Association of Counties and ask if there's any money available.
Well, in the sheriff's area, there might be some feasibility studies done or being done.
Well, but we're not doing just the jail.
I know, but that would be part of it, and at least it would.
I agree with everybody on the court. This needs to be studied a little bit more, and we need to be, we don't need to put it off. We need to do our homework. We need to contact people. We have a couple of, I don't want to call them companies, maybe professional organizations that.
I have a point of order. I think we're considering an ordinance, but we don't have an ordinance before us to consider. So I'm a little bit lost what we're doing at the moment. We're just sort of fishing around for what to do.
Passed in committee.
It's not in front of us. We don't have it. And now
only
it sounds
passed
like we
last
want to
night.
amend it. I know that. I voted for it, and I still support it, but it's getting vaguer by the minute here exactly what it is we're supporting.
Well, nothing's free. We either have to come up with some grant money, or we have to appropriate the money to do it.
My point of order is, will we know what we're voting on if we vote on something shortly?
We will not know who's doing the work and what they are going to charge to do it. And if you want to wait until a presentation is given, that would give us time to look for grants. It also, but we can't, the judge will be sending out the RFQs, and then these people will reply to him if they are interested in doing the job. And then the judge probably makes the selection. I hope he will look to the stakeholders in this for support. Stakeholders being the prosecutor's office, the circuit judges, maybe public defenders. Those are the stakeholders, and the sheriff. So.
May I make a suggestion? Come on. May I make a suggestion?
Yes.
Madam Chair, so I think that this issue, we don't have an ordinance because until you all tell me an amount to put in an ordinance, there is really no ordinance. And so my suggestion would be for you to discuss if you want to appropriate money and then what that looks like. State law prohibits us from putting out an RFP or an RFQ, which are requests for proposals or requests for qualifications on a project without having money actually appropriated. And so the issue is we need to have something appropriated, some money that we have in order to put the RFP or RFQ out. Even if it's not adequate, we can go back and amend that if it were needed. But at this point, until you tell me what we're doing, what amount it is, I can have an ordinance ready for the meeting next week if there's a decision made, but that's...
Well, may I, Madam Chair? Based on the advice of our attorney, then, I would move that we ask our attorney to draft an ordinance for the next quorum court meeting, which I believe is next week, that will address this issue for us to vote on that night, so we know what we're voting on.
Okay, but we need an amount.
$20,000? Somebody advised me,
I don't think we would even get a reply at $20,000. I mean, we need to be realistic. I would make a suggestion that we at least put $100,000 in there.
I'll move that we put $100,000 and ask Mr. Lester to draft something for quorum court that suits J.P. Harbison.
Okay.
Second.
All right, I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? And let me, just a minute, J.P. Pond, I just want to emphasize, this doesn't mean we're not going to look for grants or other money. Okay, J.P. Pond?
I want to say, and this pertains to what we're about to vote on, I appreciate your point of urgency on this issue. And so many times I hear it said and written down that we're doing something because it's for the health, safety, and the welfare of the people of Washington County. And for the health, safety, and welfare of the people of Washington County, the voters, the residents, is why we have people incarcerated in our facility, in our jail. And the overcrowding that is there is another health, safety, and welfare issue. And I don't want to see Washington County wind up with a severe bodily injury incident at our jail. With the crowds we have in there now, our employees cannot monitor the people that are in there as well as they should be able to. This is an urgent issue, and like I said, we don't need to wait around until somebody is hurt badly, and it's happened before, and we're taking chances here. If it does happen, I don't believe that's on the sheriff. He's been warning us for years. It's going to be on us if we don't get something done about the jail expansion. And I'll tell you again, I appreciate your comments about it and your point of urgency. Thank you, Madam Chair.
All right, J.P. Jenkins. Thank you, J.P. Pond.
Thank you, Madam Chair. First of all, I'd like to repeat what was heard at last night's meeting, that the suggestion from the citizens who have done research on groups that would be able to come in and do this sort of work was about $150,000, I believe.
Right.
Second, I had a question about if we allocate money to go towards this study tonight, do we have to say specifically where it's coming from in the budget? Do we have to figure that out tonight? Like you were, no?
No,
Okay.
because we can send it out, but we have an obligation when we send that out on an RFQ. We have an obligation that we have said we're going to, at this point, pay up to $100,000.
Okay.
Now, if they send something back and say, well, we can do it for this, or we can do half of it for this, or whatever, the county judge then will come and report to us what's going on.
So if we allocate $100,000 and someone underbids that, or we get grant monies, are we able to then take the leftover funding and put it back in through
I don't
ordinance?
see why we could not.
Okay, that's what I want to know, that it's somewhere where
that
it's
is
held safe.
Brian,
Is
question.
that through the RFQ? Is that what it kind
Right.
of does? It kind of
I mean,
keeps it in the pot.
I would think that they really don't care where the money's coming from, just so they get paid for what they're doing.
Okay,
So-
I'm just making sure that if we get a good deal, we're putting
Right,
it back.
right,
We're not.
Right.
Okay.
No, we're not going to spend it on some,
Yeah.
no.
All right, thank you.
All right.
The money can only be expended for what it's appropriated for. So if you appropriate it for this assessment and there's money left over, it can't be spent on anything else because that's what it's been appropriated for. So it would automatically go back into the general fund at the end of the year. It'd be the carryover, the turnbacks, that sort of thing.
All right, we have any other comments? J.P. Harvey Bowman?
Thank you, Madam Chair. For those of you that are new on the court, I think it was 2 years ago, the sheriff brought a video here of one of his enforcement people in jail that was attacked by a prisoner. And he was severely injured. The prisoner knocked him down, hit his head against a metal table and so forth, and it was quite a while before they could get somebody there to help him. I'm telling you, the jail overcrowding, guys, is a serious issue. And with 100 people on the floor, you can imagine you get jammed up too tight at the house, things get tense. And that's exactly what I think we've got going on down there now. So I think it is urgent. And I agree with Mr. Pond that this is something that's been discussed a long time, and those people down there in enforcement are at risk. So I'd like to see us move as quickly as possible on this.
All right, J.P., Sam, Duncan, done.
I think we can all agree that there's an overcrowding at the jail and that we all know that we can't do nothing. Like, there's got to be something done, right? So, the thing I'm more concerned about is I don't understand the RFQ, and I don't think anybody in the room does, maybe outside the attorney. So if we throw out a number of 100,000, which everybody just seems to be fine with that, because why not? And they come back and say, well, no, we really need 150,000. Can we appropriate another 50 grand at that point? And then if we thought 100,000, that's our opening position, what happens if it would have only cost us 50 grand?
Well, there'll be competition, I'm sure.
So they'll actually, it'll be a bid process once it's done too. So
Yes.
the number we throw out is kind of it doesn't really matter, right? It's arbitrary. The only thing that matters is if it's enough to be in the ballpark.
Right.
And for whatever reason, we think 100,000 is the ballpark.
That's
Okay.
correct. I mean, that's what I think. That it's in the ballpark, and it could be less or it could be more.
Okay. Fair enough. Thanks.
All right.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just want to say I agree with everybody. I think that this is an incredibly, there is an urgency here. I think that it would be very unethical of us to kill any chances of a jail expansion and not do something as quickly as possible to deal with the overcrowding situation, so.
All right, any other comments? All right, all of those in favor of...
Public comment.
Oh, public comment, okay. Sorry.
Beth Koger, Fayetteville. First of all, the people I've talked to, 100,000 is not really in the ballpark. They started at 150. I'm just saying that. I understand what you've just said, but I just want to throw that out there. The other thing is, we've gone over and over things that could be done right now that would get people off the floor. And the main thing that I can think of, without hiring ombudsman, without the Criminal Justice Coordinating Committee, which I keep talking about, is we could stop taking Madison County, we could stop taking federal prisoners, we could stop participating with ICE. I know that would mean money that we would not be getting, but it would be a drop in the bucket when you think about what it's going to cost for the jail and what all this is causing. So I just want to throw that out there that we should think about that.
Okay. We normally don't comment when people present ideas because we don't need, okay, thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Okay.
I'll be brief. I just wanted to follow up to that we know the Pulaski County that we've kind of been comparable to. Pulaski County is doing a full review right now of their entire system, what we're looking at doing, and the company that we've spoken to that's doing that's one of the folks that we've actually been in contact with. Their study is 150,000. So that's kind of in the ballpark of thinking about, and I guess that's our reservation with throwing out the 100,000 is that we talked to two companies. And, I mean, obviously there's other companies out there, but we obviously know that somebody within our state that has a comparable, we have similar number of cases going on amongst our Washington County and Pulaski County, so we know it's a similar comparable. So that's where we're at with that 150. Just to tell you our reference points on that's where that number came from.
Okay. I just don't want to start a big discussion. If we want to discuss things further, yes. But, okay. Yeah, we're calling, okay, let's call the question.
100,000.
I'm just going to make a comment. If we find that we need to change the amount, we can do that at the quorum court meeting next Thursday. All right, all those in favor, say aye. Aye. All those opposed?
No. Point of order.
All right.
Can you please restate the motion? Because
The motion is...
that an amount was never stated.
Yes,
so
there
what
was.
Are we voting?
J.P. Madison made a motion to put in 100,000, and it was seconded by Lisa. Who seconded it?
That is she.
I thought we had a second. It was Lisa, yes, seconded it. All right. Okay, he has not written the ordinance. He's going to write the ordinance and have it Thursday night for us to see, and the amount that we put in was $100,000. All right. We can amend that now, or we can wait and amend it next Thursday night. All right. Okay, we had some that were opposed, so we'll do it by raising our hands. All those that are by roll call.
All those that are what?
All of those that, okay, let's start over. We are voting on the RFQ motion to appropriate $100,000 to fund the assessment of the criminal justice system in Washington County. That's what we're voting on, because Brian says he can't write.
I got it.
Okay. That's what we're voting on. All right. All roll call, Patty. Miss Burnett, please.
Lance Johnson.
No.
Susan Cunningham.
Yes.
Harvey Bowman. Judith Yanez.
Yes.
Lisa Ecke.
Yes.
Sam Duncan.
Yes.
Chandra Washington.
Yes.
Andrea Jenkins.
Yes.
Suki Hires.
Yes.
Sue Madison.
Yes.
Willie Lemming.
No.
Butch Pond.
Yes.
Did I call you?
No.
Okay.
Yes. I guess I don't pass. Okay, it's passed on to the quorum court. All right. Public comment. Do we have any more public comment?
One more.
Oh, I'm sorry, Lisa. We have the insurance.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Mr. Lester, will you please read the ordinance by title only?
An ordinance authorizing members of the quorum court to purchase vision, dental, and life insurance.
Did you make a motion?
No.
Oh, okay.
As stated before, the AAC has now had this changed. So therefore, I move to pass this on to the full quorum court with a due pass recommendation.
Second.
All right. Motion and second. Any discussion? J.P. Madison.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just have one question. It's authorizing you to buy with your own money,
Correct.
which kind of blows my mind that we need quorum court permission to spend our own money.
Well,
Quorum court members.
quorum court member, okay, the insurance rate, health insurance that the employees receive is not what is available to us. It is at a different rate. It is at a retirement rate, which is a much higher rate. The state legislature, as you know, you're in the Senate, does not allow JPs to be part of that group. So legislatively, what they did say is, if the employee is purchasing additional insurance with their own money, then therefore the JPs will be given the same opportunity to buy it at 100%. Therefore, taxpayers are not paying for any of our insurance.
So this language is coming from the legislative staff?
This is
Okay.
yes. And
thank you.
Thank you. Any other clarifications?
Anyone else?
And it will be with the HR department. Director Watson will help assist or send us to the right people to enroll, if you'd like to. Thank you.
Public comment?
Well, I don't know if this, Beth Koger, Fayetteville. I have a question that concerns something that was earlier in the meeting that I didn't know when I should ask. It was about the treasurer's report.
Right.
Okay, is this the time to ask about that?
No, we've got a motion on the floor on a particular ordinance.
Okay.
At the end of the meeting, we will have public comment that you can ask at that time.
Thank you, Madam Chairman.
All right, this is only on this ordinance. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed? All right, it's passed on to the full quorum court. Okay, now we have public comment.
That's not answering questions, just
Thank you, Beth Koger, Fayetteville. My question is, when we talk about the money that we do not have from FEMA, I'd like to, if someone could maybe tell us what they're doing to collect that money, or what can be done to collect the money?
I'm sure that they are doing everything possible to do that.
Who is they?
The road department in particular, Chief Gales. He's right behind you. Yes,
May I?
J.P. Lemming.
I was just gonna tell her, the FEMA works, when they wanna pay you, they will. If they do, they do. They don't, they don't. Might be 3 months, might be 3 years, might not ever get it. They just tell you up front that you're obligated to get it, but
Okay.
you never know.
I just thought, it was a debt, we might write a collection letter or something. Okay.
Okay, J.P. Jenkins.
I was just going to tell you, Ms. Koger, that I had asked the same question to Chief Gales, and it's just a matter of a wait game. That's what we've been told, that we're just kind of waiting in line with everybody else, and it's unknown.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay,
I make a motion to adjourn. Second.
One quick comment in that, this is why it's so important to keep our road department well-funded and not cut into that budget because of situations like FEMA. We have to have the money in the budget before they will do whatever, and sometimes
Okay.
it takes 3 years.
Thank you. All right, we have a motion to adjourn and a second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed? You want to stay here?
Hey, JP's, remember that Friday?
Oh,
is
just a
the
minute.
CSU grand opening.
And I forgot something.
If any of you want to.
I forgot something. We have pictures on June the 25th. If you cannot be here for your pictures,
20th.
please notify.
20th.
20th. Next Thursday. All right. If you cannot be here, please notify Ms. Burnett. I'm sorry.
CSU open.
Do what? I did, that's what I did. I just did.
Yeah.
CSU
That's next Friday.
CSU open.
This Friday.
Is it this Friday?
Friday, yep.
Day after tomorrow?
Yeah.
No, 2 days, yeah. Oh, I'll be there.